This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
And joining us now here on Katz and Cosby is great Democratic strategist Melissa DeRosa. Melissa, everybody's wondering, in the next few hours, the polls are going to close in Colorado. There's a couple definitely far left candidates, socialists on the ballot there. Is this going to be a national trend beyond New York? That's what everyone's wondering tonight.
Well, great to chat with you, Rita. I mean, I think it already is a national trend. It's not a governing coalition yet, but we've seen the DSA, the Democratic Socialists, pick up mayoral seats in Chicago and Boston, potentially out in LA. We'll see what happens there. They've got squad members in Michigan. And so they are actively expanding, beyond New York City. But I think New York City is the canary in the coal mine. I think it is forecasting what's to come. And these people are certainly electable in Democratic primaries. But the question is then what happens in the general election, and then do we end up losing these seats like in Michigan, where I think that if El Sayed, who is the DSA, the Democratic Socialist person who hangs around with, Hassan Piker, who says America deserves 9/11, and his sort of noun verb APAC, could win, that primary in Michigan, and obviously we're seeing what's going on with Plattner. And so then do they lose these seats that otherwise could be up for grabs in the general election? And I think that is what we're watching play out. So absolutely.
You talked about in Denver, one of these candidates, Milad Kiros, this one in particular. I mean, Melissa, it's really troubling. She came out and essentially said America deserved 9/11, that October 7th was basically brought on by the Jewish state. She wouldn't even acknowledge there was this anti-Semitic attack that took place in Colorado where the guy admitted he was looking for Jews. He was shouting Free Palestine. He firebombed a group of Jewish protesters, and she still refused to say it's anti-Semitic.
Well, listen, this is the thing. I mean, when people tell you who they are, believe them. And you look at someone like Zoran Mamdani, you look at this woman who just defeated Adriano Espaillat, you look at this person in Denver who you were just talking about, you look at El Sayed, who's hanging out with Hassan Piker. You look at Graham Plattner, who literally had a Nazi tattoo until 5 minutes ago. And the tie that binds all of them is not an affordability agenda. It's an anti-Semitism, anti-Israel agenda. And so I think that there's something much larger going on here, and that mainstream Democrats need to be forcefully calling it out and stamping it out, or else you're going to end up with a scenario where we have a hate-filled party who's completely taken over and then casts out Democrats into the wilderness for the next decade at least.
Melissa, John Katzmatidis, is there any leadership at all in the Democratic Party trying to bring back common sense?
Well, this is the thing, John. I mean, think about who the leaders are right now of the party. You've got Hakeem Jeffries in Brooklyn, and you've got Chuck Schumer in Brooklyn. Chuck is essentially invisible. I mean, got a lot of respect for the public service he's given to the state of New York over the years, but he is practically invisible when it comes to leadership in the party, and his numbers are, worse than Donald Trump's numbers in New York. It's really astounding. And Hakeem, who I think is doing a great job, doing everything he can to take back the House, it doesn't seem like he and that coalition is putting forth a governing agenda that can try to, give people an alternative to what the DSA is doing. And that's really what we need, is an alternative vision. The abundance theory. We need someone out there saying, build, baby, build, good paying jobs, rebuild infrastructure. Here's my innovation plan. Here's my AI plan. Here's my data center plan. Here's how we're going to tackle the fact that kids are going to graduate from college and not get the same kind of jobs they got 10 years ago. And no one's doing that. And so in that vacuum steps these Looney Tunes who, frankly, just put forward not, fanciful things, which free this, free that, free this, free that, which is just enough to get you elected, but then gets everybody nowhere in the end. And then again, it's the anti-Semitism, anti-Israel, anti-AIPAC wing. And that's where we sort of are. So, no, I think sadly,
Melissa,
the Democratic Party doesn't have someone putting forth an alternative agenda right now.
Let's go back to normal life. And the question is, 10 Democratic states said they're not going to go to Washington to celebrate 250 years.
Actually, John, I have an update. It's 11.
It's 11.
It's 11.
What is the pulse of the common sense Democrats that are still around of saying that about these 11 states?
I participated in an event in South Carolina a couple of weeks ago. It was on Memorial Day weekend. It was this event that was a call to humanity, and it was women from both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party coming together to celebrate America 250 and talk about bipartisan solutions to issues that cross party lines. And on the Democratic Party side, it was chaired by Donna Brazile, and on the Republican side, it was chaired by Lara Trump. And I was there, and so was Laura Ingraham. And, there were people from all across the spectrum who are saying this country is worth fighting for. There are issues that transcend partisanship that we should all be working together on. And what's so troubling to me is that in the 250th anniversary of the country, we can't find it in us to come together and celebrate what we're all here for and try at least to put forth a vision moving forward that can unite us. And so it's sad. It's very sad, and it's a real statement on our time.
And, we just have literally about 30 seconds. Real quick, the New York City budget. There was a handshake today, literally 30 seconds. Melissa, your thought?
No, it's a deal that has managed to piss off the left and the right. Excuse my language. But, they're not happy because they're not doing what had been promised in terms of increasing a headcount for the NYPD. They threw that overboard in order to do these additional housing vouchers, but what they got on the housing vouchers is much less than what the advocates wanted. So, people are holding their nose and voting for this. Julie Menon is, ferociously trying to whip the votes, which currently I'm not sure that they've got. So, again, it's going to be a budget that I think manages to upset all sides.
Yeah, that's a good way to sum it up. Melissa, thank you so much. We always love having you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Happy 4th if I don't talk to you before.
Happy 4th.
You too.